All right, Nick. Reds are down 3. Feels like 10. Giants lead 4-1. Head to the top of the 9th. As you can tell by the somber voice, it's been a humbling experience watching the Cincinnati Reds tonight. And you know what? If anything, Nick, you get to see the true OGs in the chat tonight. You know, this is a true OG chat night.
100%. These are the goats. We love you.
These are the committed, man. You're in the chat tonight. Let me tell you something. You deserve an award. You deserve an award.
You know, one day when the Reds win the World Series, we're gonna go back. We're gonna find this night. We're gonna see who was in the chat.
Yep.
And they'll get a guest appearance on our World Series celebration.
There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Conrad, Casito, who's your daddy as always? Who's your daddy's been an OG from the get-go. Chris Hamilton. Mouse Cop is as reliable as they come. I'm Brad, Derby Armstrong, or Derby Stardom, excuse me. Mark Fetters is always the man. Donald C., Chris Hamilton, Sin Nick, John Fellins, Kyle Carlisle, JB, Rick S., John. I mean, listen. This is it. This is it, fellas. What happens if they come back and win, though? What do you think this chat rises to? This chat will explode. We're gonna get up to like 250 in a matter of seconds.
Sadak beat me to it. This guy does have 4 straight blown saves, so
he's due.
Yeah, he's due for a 7 pitch inning.
That's how it feels, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how it feels. Golly day, you know, I just I gotta wait to save some of this for the show chat, but what a tough day.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you what, though, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to put the game back on. I'm going to put it on my phone because my phone will be a little bit quicker. Turned on and sent deep in the air. Sounds like a fly out.
The time you get it on, it's going to be over.
We got 2 outs?
Yeah.
Oh. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I still want to play the game. I still want to see if I can get there before the game's over. Oof. Just made it. Disgusting mess. Has anybody in the history of broadcasting ever made a dire situation sound so optimistic than John Sadak? Dude, did he just hit that out of here?
No, did he really throw 21 pitches? That was the quietest 21 pitches I've ever seen.
I don't know, but I know one thing. We got to do a show.
Left center field, racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. They did. Reds win. Win. Line to the right field. Judges the first run ever with Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first. And Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Trey Bruce.
Trace.
All right, Nick. I'll make this clean for the podcast. I promise. I muted
Please
myself.
don't make me edit.
Don't
edit tonight.
Listen. You're gonna have to do this. Just this one quick edit. I'm gonna get us off the right track. But I was staring at this chat forever because there was somebody that says that they watch this show religiously. They just are never in the chat. I wanted to give them a little bit of pub, so I was gonna type their name into the chat, and then I muted myself, and I still can't find their name. It's been a struggle. It's been a bad night, but I'm going to start this clean and fresh so you can cut this thing for the podcast starting about right now. All right, Nick. Another losing edition of Chatterbox Reds. That's becoming far too often of a statement. The Reds lose 4-1. You'd like to think that if they were going to be able to win this series against the Giants, which is, I guess, still possible, doesn't seem likely, but is still possible, that the Reds would be A-okay. They'd come back home. But after tonight and the news that happened today, which I'm sure we'll get into, don't want to spoil it right off the top of the show, it's just a bad feeling, a really, really bad feeling. I don't know if you want to get in the box score recap really quickly and then go through the topics or where you want to start, Nick, but I'll let you guide us the way.
Let's just jump right into it. All right, it was a struggle for Andrew Abbott from the start in the game Monday night for the Reds in San Francisco. Bottom of the first, Andrew Abbott gave up a hard-hit single and a walk to the first two batters before Wilmer Flores hit a ball into the right center field gap near the wall. Stuart Fairchild closed on the ball with Friedel also close, but slowed up just a bit, possibly maybe a bit tentative on his first defensive play back after suffering a concussion a week ago, crashing into the wall. The ball dropped, allowing a run to score, and that made it 1-0. Abbott did do a pretty good job rallying, did strike out 3 of the next 4 batters with a walk mixed in, but it took him 32 pitches. Giants would end up getting 2 more off Abbott. He ended up getting pulled after just getting 1 out in the 4th inning with 85 pitches. Abbott's final line, 3 in the 3rd, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Reds offense was absolutely dominated by Giants left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison. He is a top 20 prospect in baseball who just happens to be from the Bay Area and made his home debut. He struck out the first 5 Reds batters and shockingly pitched into the 7th inning. Harrison was only supposed to throw 65 to 75 pitches, and he hadn't gone more than 5 innings in any start in the minor leagues all season. Harrison's unbelievable final line against the Reds, 6 1/3 innings, pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts. Reds' best chance in the game came in the 7th, right after Harrison got pulled. Right before that, CES smoked a double off Harrison. TJ Friedel walked. That did knock Harrison finally out of the game. Giants brought in a right-handed pitcher. David Bell went to Nick Martini. Martini hit a ball into right field for a hit. J.R. House, for some godforsaken reason, sent Christian Encarnacion Strand home, and he was out by a country mile. And that would have just brought Will Benson to the plate as a pinch hitter. Would have been the tying run. Reds were down 4-0 at the time. Instead, Benson struck out. That was the end of the Reds' best threat. Reds did, in the top of the 8th, at least avoid the shutout. Nick Senzel singled, and Ellie De La Cruz doubled him home. But the Reds fall 4-1 in the first of 3 in San Francisco. Cubs did lose tonight. Arizona is currently losing at the moment. So if the Diamondbacks score holds, the Reds will remain a game and a half back in the wild card race. But now the Giants are ahead of the Reds as we speak.
Nice job, Nick. All right. Well, where do we start? Where do we start? Let's start with the offense. This is a broken record. I don't want to say I was right. I don't want to make it sound like I'm rooting for this, but I've seen this coming. I've seen it coming, and I've seen it coming. And the unfortunate part is, Nick, in a little bit of a somber way, maybe this is too morbid for late night television, but I feel like we're sitting at the hospital right now, and the doctor comes out for a loved one of yours, and he goes, all right, this is the problem, XYZ, and it's not looking great. And you ask the doctor, well, what can you do about it? What can we do? How can we fix it? And they just look at you and say there's nothing we can do. And I think that's where I'm at tonight. I think I'm just sitting in my bed, slowly made my way downstairs to watch it on the TV or on my phone here, and I just don't think there's a solution, guys. I don't think there's a solution. I think we just have to live with it. We got to hope and pray that somehow some of these guys that probably aren't supposed to be as good as we need them to be become, for at least a month, as good as we need them to be. But it's just not there. This team has fought through injury after injury after injury, Nick, and I think we've met our match. I think we've met our match, and maybe I'm being too overly pessimistic. I'm just using my eyes, and I'm trying to tell the people how I feel. And if that's the end of it, that's the end of it. If it's not, then I apologize for overreacting. But I don't know how you feel, Nick. It's just, where do you go from here? How does it get better?
Yeah, the offense right now is just it's painful to watch at times. Only thing I can kind of say is it maybe feels, especially against starting pitching, like maybe the Reds are kind of like stuck in the spot where they're kind of in between. Like they want to be aggressive at times and they want to kind of be patient, and it feels like they're kind of stuck in the middle there where they're maybe overthinking it at times. But again, you just have too many guys that at this point in their careers aren't established good big league hitters. They got a lot of upside. There's no question about it. I mean, there's 4 or 5 guys in this lineup that I love. I think in 3 or 4 years, man, these guys could be absolute studs, but that's not the current time. I mean, the only player that I look at and I go, absolutely has no business being here with what the Reds options are right now is TJ Hopkins, and not to single him out, not he's not doing anything wrong, but
what do you mean he's not doing anything wrong? He's not doing anything wrong. He's being really, really nice. What gave it away, Nick? What possibly made what tipped you off on the whole he doesn't belong thing? That was it he hasn't gotten a hit?
Yeah, he's just overmatched at the plate. So I mean, but again, replacing TJ Hopkins with Jose Barrero or Trey Mancini's probably not the magic pill to fix this thing. But I mean, that's the only thing I can look at right now and say, yep, that's definitely one move I'd like to see them make. CES, look, he did have 3 hard hit balls today, hit a double, hit one right to the warning track. I mean, man, you really need him to be a guy that gets hot, and you have to hope and pray Jake Fraley makes his first rehab game tomorrow, that he comes back. I mean, if Jake Fraley comes back and hits like Jake Fraley, that's a huge if. I'm not sugarcoating that part of it. But if he does, this lineup looks completely different at least against right-handed pitching. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's a struggle right now.
Yeah, it is a struggle. Derby Stardom said that if the Reds go 500 on this road trip, they will go to the postseason. I still believe that. The only problem is I didn't know that Matt McLain was going to get hurt. That's why I'm really pissed off. Losing tonight's one thing, Nick. I'm not saying that I want to lose, but in general terms, like, that's not a huge deal. Losing Matt McLain for the biggest 10-game stretch of the season by far is a really gut punch. That's a low blow. I don't know. Like I said, maybe if I go to sleep and I wake up, I'll feel a little bit better. But tonight, I just feel like it's coffin nails. I feel like it's casket time. But as I've said before, of the two of us, if there was one person to ever overreact on this show, it's going to be me. So maybe that's the silver lining here, is that that they are 4-4. But I don't know. Feels gross, as I've said 1,000 times.
There's just so many things right now that feel like they're all going against the Reds. The McLean injury, you don't want to be the excuses guy, but there's a lot of them. I mean,
No, yeah, you can only do so much, Nick.
The Reds plane had engine air issues. They sat in the plane for 8 hours overnight. They didn't get to the hotel till 5 a.m., which is 8 a.m. our time. So you factor that. I mean, that probably had something to do with this kid coming up and absolutely dominating them. You have J.R. House, just I don't know what he was doing. Maybe it was a lack of sleep for him. That's why I don't know. That's one of the worst sins I've ever seen, just because of the situation where you're in, where, I mean, you were going to have the tying run at the plate. That's as bad as it gets. And then, I mean, the McLean news, and it's just, it feels like whatever can go wrong will go wrong right now. But Trace, I will say this, it's disgusting. I couldn't even believe it. Reds are 8-8 in their last 16 games. Does it even feel like it feels like they're 4-12, right?
Well, they're not winning the series that matter the most. I mean, that's the part of it. I mean, listen, if you don't sweep the Angels, if you only take 2 or 3 from the Angels, and I know everyone can play the what if game, this whole thing looks a lot different, doesn't it, in regards to a record standpoint? But sweeping the Angels, it obviously is important and it's great. But again, from a head-to-head standpoint, they've just not won these series that matter. They've not. And those are the facts. That's why this starts to feel a little bit different. Your eyes tell you one thing, and I know that the record book tells you another. And again, I get it. 500 in the last 16. I don't know. I just don't know how. I mean, how much more can you possibly watch this team and think it's realistic to compete, to play in the postseason? It just doesn't seem possible. But again, maybe I'm overreacting because I just sat up there and I watched abysmal at bat after abysmal at bat, lifeless energy, and then I watched J.R. House. It's like I said, as soon as you thought that the players couldn't possibly play any worse, you find out that the third base coach has his head up his ass. I don't know exactly what he was thinking. I do want to point out to Scott on Twitter, made a good point. He says, I think there's a lot of hero syndrome right now, and there's a lot of guys on this team, and including maybe JR, where they got to think they have to do more than what they need to do just their job, but they think they need to do more than just their job right now to try to help the team win. And inevitably, every time you get in a situation like that, as Scott points out, it doesn't go well. You're actually it's counterintuitive. So, again, what was J.R. House thinking? What was the concept there? Listen, you got the tying run coming up to the plate for the first time all night. You got Christian Encarnacion Strand that if you watch, you use your eyes during the play, he stuttered for a minute because he thought it was a line drive. He wasn't sure if it was going to get caught. So he got a terrible break. And I just don't understand how you send him. I don't. Now, do I want to sit here and spend 30 minutes talking about J.R. House? Probably not, Nick, but we would be lying to ourselves if we didn't say that was a pretty meaningful moment in this game, is him sending that, because it just felt like the old knife in the proverbial beach ball right there on the yellow sideline. It just shrunk. The air came right out of him.
Well, it felt like that, and then the home plate umpire as well. Any of the few chances the Reds had, it felt like they just got taken right away. It was like, as soon as the Reds, you felt, okay, maybe there's something here. Probably not, but hey, there might be something. You call a pitch 3 inches out of the strike zone, a strike, and or J.R. House sends the runner home, or it just, man, it was just a tough game to watch. Just, I don't know.
It was. And everybody, and including you, Nick, they keep reminding me about the 500 comment, and they keep reminding me that this team obviously is still right in it. I understand, and maybe you guys are letting me kind of wear you down a little much here when I'm saying this. I'm just using my eyes more than anything. I'm using my eyes. My eyes are telling me that this is going to get ugly. I hope I'm wrong. You know what it's going to take? Like it or not, maybe we can get into this now. Abbott is on fumes, but I don't know if we want to spend a quick second on just what lightning bolt and or shot in the arm can we possibly get. Trey Mancini, maybe he comes up here and he plays out of his mind for a month. I don't know. It's possible. Honestly, it's possible. Trey Mancini's got the game to be able to possibly do it. And I'm not saying he could do it for over a long period of time, but he could do it for maybe a month. Is it crazy to think that Jose Barrero's got to be the guy now that you call up? And maybe what a full circle moment. What an unbelievable year it would be to tell your grandkids about if Jose Barrero's the guy that comes in and saves the season. You know, I mean, that would actually be hilarious. That'd be some good karma. Now you're getting some smiles out of me. I don't know if that's the answer, Nick, but where are you at on just kind of how can this Reds team get a little bit of a shot in the arm?
Yeah, you got to get Jose Barrero up here. He deserves a chance. I mean, look, Jose Barrero's killing two birds with one stone. Number one, he probably gives you the best chance to win right now. At least he's got the potential upside there. And number two, hey, if the Reds really are dead, why not give Jose Barrero a chance, right? Like you're kind of at the point where what does it hurt? Like he probably is a better option to hit, and you probably need to see him get some more big league at bats because this guy doesn't have that many big league at bats. He's, I think, still under 400 career at bats. So, my idea was he played 2 games at second base back in 2021 when the Reds had Kyle Farmer. So he has played some second base, played a lot in 2018 there. I would say, hey, why don't you have him? He's probably already in Omaha right now. That's where Louisville plays tomorrow. Why don't you have him play second base for 2 games there? You're off on Thursday. Call him up on Friday. Just let him play second base till Matt McLean comes back. I guess the only caveat would be maybe if they don't think McLean's going to be out that long, but I don't. Oblique injuries. I mean, it's hard to see him back anytime soon.
Right.
I know there's a heavy variance to how oblique can keep you out for months or weeks, but I think you got to get Jose Barrero up here.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if they do that. I fully expect them to because it seems like a pretty clear-cut picture as to what they need, and he fits the mold for what they need to a certain extent. Now, whether or not he produces when he gets up here, I don't know. I'm not going to promise anything like on that front, but I'm rooting for him. I really do hope he comes up here, and I hope he has some success because it helps the Reds tremendously if Jose Barrero can get hot towards the end of this year. Whether you want to say that you don't believe in him, whether you want to say that you think that he could possibly be a really good utility guy for this team down the road, if you don't believe in him, then you want him to get hot for a month, and then Nick Krall will trade him away in the offseason, and you might actually get some return for him because he looks like he's a promising prospect again. Let's get into Andrew Abbott quickly here. I don't know what to make of it. I think at this point he needs to skip a start. I know we've said that already before. He's got to skip a start. He has to. It's at this point not just it's not a fluke. It's a trend. It looks more and more like a trend than a fluke, Nick. So I'm not saying I'm gonna shut him down, okay? But I am skipping a start.
Yeah, I mean, and Jeff Brantley was all over this on the broadcast. Like the Reds did this with, I think it was Lodolo, where they sat him down for a couple weeks, let him finish the season. Feels like that's what you need to do with Abbott. Maybe the Reds say, well, we got a doubleheader this weekend against the Cubs. We're going to get him go one more time through the rotation. But it really feels like you're pushing it with him, not in terms of like the Reds season where we're at. It feels like you're almost maybe pushing him too far in terms of a guy that we're counting on for the future. I don't know. Maybe they feel differently with the way they're monitoring his workload and all that, but they're pulling him after like 85 pitches and like tonight. It wasn't really pulling him because of performance. It was clearly they were pulling him because let's get him out of here. So I think you need to probably skip him at least 2 times through the rotation. See where he's at. Maybe he can finish the season, but at this point, you have to think about really the player at this point. And I don't really know if there's really even that big a trade-off between him and like Leon Richardson right now, if we're being honest. Right now, in this exact moment,
I get what
based
you're saying.
on where his fatigue level is.
I'm not going to disagree with that. All right. The final topic of conversation we hinted on a little bit here already is Matt McLain to the IL. You can give the specific announcement. I'm pretty sure, obviously, he's going on the 10-day IL. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. Has an oblique situation. They're going to leave it pretty vague, I'd assume, for a reason. You know, I don't know where to go. He's such a good player, man. He's so important to this team. So important to this team. I can't state that enough. I mean, I feel like he's the kind of the catalyst that got this ball moving in the right direction when they brought him up back when he came up against the Rockies. And I get that maybe it took him a little bit of while to get going in regards to the team momentum-wise, and many people give Ellie credit for maybe the rise in popularity and wins at the same time. But I think Matt McLain's been that guy all along. So I'm just super disappointed that he's gone down to an injury.
Yeah, man, just this probably going to hurt his Rookie of the Year. I mean, I don't think he was going to win Rookie of the Year, but he was probably the clear cut. He probably was going to finish second. He may fall out of the race, which that's important to these guys. Right. That's an accomplishment. You look at their baseball reference page for the rest of their career. It says Rookie of the Year 2. I mean, that's just a cool thing to have. So that part of it personally stinks, and obviously the Reds are in a world of trouble without Matt McLain. He's been their best overall player since he's got here.
Yeah, shout out Betfred Sportsbook. At least the last time I checked tonight, I thought about doing it. I was going to put as much money as I humanly could on Carroll to win the Rookie of the Year because it's a lock at this point. And you just got to be really rich to make any money. It's minus 3,000 at least last time I checked. So good luck. I mean, $3,000 to win $100. Still free money though. It's legitimately free money, right, Nick? Like it's impossible for him to lose. Even if he gets hurt tomorrow, he still wins.
Yeah, I went to cash out my McLain bet because they had offered me more money like a week ago, and it was already gone.
Yeah. Well, that's here nor there. Yep. All right, so here's the deal. Play tomorrow. Let's do the who, what, when, where, and why. That way the podcast is nice and clean, and maybe we can hang out for just a quick second after that. But who, what, when, where, and why, Nick? We've got to get a win. Got to get a win.
Yeah, Reds, Giants, 2 of 3, Tuesday night, 9:45, as mentioned. This will be the Reds' last late game of the entire regular season. Just about every game the rest of the way is 6:40 or earlier outside of 4 games. So last one to grind through. Reds will be going up against Alex Cobb. Bad news, he was a All-Star this year. Good news is, last time the Reds saw Alex Cobb, he came into Cincinnati with a 2.82 ERA, and Reds put 9 hits and 5 runs off him. He walked 4 batters, didn't strike out a batter. Starting on that start against the Reds back on July 20th, 7 games since, he's 0-3 with a 6.14 ERA. He's given up 9 home runs in 36 2/3 innings over that span. So obviously not an easy ballpark to hit home runs, but hey, maybe the Reds can crank a couple out, and maybe the first inning, Trace. That would really feel nice, and man, let's manifest it. And hey, probably is it safe to say the guy you'd want on the mound right now? Can't even believe I'm saying that about Brandon Williamson, but since July 1st, he's got an even 3 ERA. Last 4 starts, 24 innings, 4 walks, 27 strikeouts. Williamson actually pitched that game that we were on the riverboat for. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Pitched really well in that game. Gave up solo home runs to Austin Slater and Wilmer Flores in that game. So need another big start from a rookie and Brandon Williamson. Hopefully we can get it tomorrow.
Yeah, we need a little bit of fortune too. I think that this offense needs a little bit of help. We need a guy to walk some guys, hit by pitches. We need to find ways to manufacture guys to get on base. This whole concept that if they don't walk anybody and they're just expecting the Reds guys to go up there and be able to put the ball in play and get on base and move the guys around, I just don't see it right now. I really don't. The approaches too, they're just, I don't know. Again, maybe they needed some sleep. Maybe it was the 8 hours on the tarmac. That could easily probably be it. Who knows? but it feels like they've been on a tarmac for a month and a half and haven't been hitting the ball for a whole lot of pop for a long time. So maybe the plane is to blame, or maybe it's just the fact that these guys are below average offensive players. So I don't know. We'll see. But Nick, go ahead.
Well, you saw that double that ended up Ellie getting to third base on. I mean, he didn't hit the ball that far. Hit it 137 feet and ended up on third base. Man, it'd be nice if Ellie could do that in the first inning, right? That just completely changes the whole feeling and vibe and all those kind of things about the game instead of in the eighth inning. So, I mean, this is the kind of ballpark, man. If guys like Ellie can just put the ball in play, it can really, really, create some havoc, and that's what the Reds need to do.
Maybe I'm overthinking this, and maybe I'm too overly critical about baseball IQ sometimes, because when you're not that athletic and you're not as talented, definitely nowhere near ever thought about being as talented as Ellie was. I always felt like I was required to be relatively intelligent on the field and really know the time, the score, the inning, know all those types of things. Ellie going to third base tonight on that whole, kind of missed throw and all that. It's like sometimes I just wonder if he thinks about the game, which maybe it's great that he doesn't, but it's just like, what are we doing there? I mean, with all due respect, I know you got there safely. That's just a dumbass play. It just is. I mean, if you're out, what are we doing? We're trying to take third. We're trying to take third base with 2 outs and you're down by 3. I mean, with all due respect, man. And I know he's 21 years old, so I don't want to crush him. And I'm not again, but again, sometimes I just wonder, like, are we just out of it mentally? Like, is that the problem, that the season's caught up to us and these young guys are just mentally exhausted and they just can't focus long enough to be able to have competitive at bats and play every single pitch? Because that is hard to do, I will tell you. I know people probably think that that's crazy talk, all this, that, and other. It's like, well, that's your only job in life, is you got to play a game for 3 hours. You should be able to focus the whole time. It's like focusing for every single pitch and playing through all of the scenarios, every single pitch, is mentally taxing. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just concerned. That was one small play that made me think, like, do we even pay attention? Do we care? Are we logically thinking through much of this stuff? But maybe not. That could just be Ellie being Ellie. Manny Ramirez, same concept, right? You just happy-go-lucky, pretty dumb guy that's really good at baseball. So no disrespect, of course, to Manny. Anyways, I guess from here, Nick, got to find a way to win tomorrow. Williamson's on the mound. One quick chat question that I want to know if you know the answer to before we jump on off the stream was, if Rookie of the Year, and I know me and you are pretty bad about this, and maybe in the offseason we'll do a little bit of homework on all of this stuff so we know the answers immediately. If McLean were to finish top 3 in Rookie of the Year, did the Reds get any compensation picks from that?
I actually know the answer to this, and I know it because of Charlie Goldsmith. I reached out to him, and he got me an official answer. So the only player that could impact any of those extra year of service time, any of that other stuff, is Ellie De La Cruz. You had to be a top 100 prospect preseason. So, thankfully, Matt McLean was bad in 2022 because Matt McLean was a top 100 prospect going into 2022, but struggled last year. Not struggled. I mean, he wasn't great at AA. Fell out of the top 100. He was not a top 100 prospect at the beginning of the year, so he can't cost anything. So, the only guy you really don't want to finish in the top 2 of Rookie of the Year is Ellie De La Cruz, and I think at this point it's pretty safe that that's not going to happen.
Okay. All right.
The Diamondbacks did lose, so
this is crazy.
Reds remain a game and a half back.
We're a game and a half back from the playoffs, and I tell you, when I sit here tonight, and I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed. When I go to bed tonight, it's gonna feel like we're 10 games back. And I don't know why it does, but it just does. I did go get. I want to end the show on a positive note. So I want to let Kirby can share some of his final thoughts with you. I'm gonna go grab something. I just remembered. I'm gonna go grab something, and I promise that I'll do it. But I'm gonna go get it, and I'll tell you the story when I get back. Nick, you got about a minute to burn. Hopefully, you can burn it
I got 2 questions, so
as good as you can.
All right, so 2 questions. I saw Jordan Earhart. Shout out to you, Jordan. You've been in your all season. Appreciate you. Asked about India and his return. They did say on the broadcast, India's with the team in San Francisco. He's doing some baseball activities, but I mean, he's still going to have to go on a rehab assignment. Jim Day said probably at least 5 games just because of how long he's been out. So, I mean, it's almost September. I mean, you're looking at mid-September probably at the earliest for India. And then if you missed it, Fraley tomorrow, it will be playing for the Louisville Bats against Omaha. So, and they're expecting to have him back on Friday. Other question we got, and I'll bring Trace into this one as well when he gets settled. Really good question from Noah on Twitter. How big of a difference do you guys think pitch framing makes? Always feels like it kills us. Yeah, I mean, the umpire sucked tonight. He was awful, atrocious, as I'm doing my best Elliott impression doing this, but he was terrible. But, I mean, Noah brings up a good point. I mean, the Giants catcher is elite at that kind of thing and stole a lot of strikes for them. The Reds, don't steal as many strikes, and that probably does hurt guys like Abbott, especially when they're struggling with their command. If the Reds could have stole some of the strikes that the Giants were able to, it might have helped them.
Man, this chat, I love him. Ricky made me laugh right there pretty good. That's pretty funny. Yeah, had to step away. So here's where I was at. For those that I think we said this even before the year started. I went to jungle insert person's name. No free ads, but anyway, I was there and I was getting some ice cream. Because that's what I do when I get sad. And I was getting some ice cream. And ultimately, I seen a sign inside of this said place that said cigars. And I thought, you know what? Never smoked a cigar. Never smoked a cigar, believe it or not. Never smoked cigs. Never smoked cigs. Never smoked cigs. Never smoked a cigar. And I thought to myself, you know what? The Reds, they're going to make the postseason here relatively shortly. Hopefully it's this year. If it's not, we're gonna knock that door down next year. That's an honest, hard stance I'm going to stake on. When the Reds clinch, I'm going to smoke this bad boy right on there, right here. It's gonna sit. It might be disgusting. I don't know how long these things are good for. I have no clue about any of it. To be honest, it's in a nice little plastic thing, so I'd assume it's good to go. But it's just gonna sit somewhere. When I rearrange my studio, it's gonna sit somewhere. Maybe even in sight. I got to get somewhere where you can see this thing at all times. We're going to burn this thing together. One day, chat. One day.
I got one too. Someone sent me one like 2 years ago that I have, so it'll probably be really disgusting. But hey, I'll be right there with you. I'm going outside. I'm not that bold. I'll go from them on my phone. But yeah, I'll do it with you. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life either.
Yep. I haven't done it.
I've smoked some cigars though. I do enjoy a good cigar, but
there you go.
A long time.
Yeah, I'm not going to confirm nor deny what people in the chat are trying to suggest, but you know what? That's here nor there. All right, guys. We are not far back, are we, Nick? We're just not that far back.
Yeah, but still, still pretty much control your own destiny. I mean, it's the wild part of this. You win your next 5 games, you're in complete control of the playoffs. Like that sounds stupid, but it's true.
Yeah. It is ridiculous. All right. I don't know how long these are good for, boys, but they're going to come around someday. This is going to be a thing. As a reminder, we got Cassie's Clickers on Tuesday nights. For those that are keeping track, that'll be tomorrow night. And then, per usual, we have Off the Bench with Thom Brennaman. Thom shared today that he obviously is going to be going into surgery tomorrow. So prayers out to Thom. Hopefully that operation goes well tomorrow and he'll be back in short order. But in the meantime, your boy here is going to be hosting Off the Bench. And as always, Chatterbox Reds. Chatterbox Reds. And as a reminder, the Bash on Short Vine is this Saturday. All right. here's the deal. I love you. I appreciate you. If you were in the chat tonight, you deserve an award. Till next time, go Reds. We're not dead yet.